Well, hey everybody, so glad you could join me today for this vlog. And I'm going to talk about and show you the whole harvesting process. And this is my studio where I set up for the processing table, bucket, extractor. Um, what you really got to do is get everything cleaned, washed, set up before you get started. And that way it'll make the process a whole lot easier once you come from the bee yard, the honey yard, your apiary, your farm, with your frames of honey to process. And this is my extractor, which I got online through Amazon. It's like a really good extractor. It's not too expensive. Um, so I'll get a little more into detail about it, but like I said, you can find them real inexpensive on Amazon, and they're really nice. Okay, so to get ready for today's harvest, I've got my smoker tool out, and these are just some pine needles that I picked up. That we have a lot of these out here on the lot. So I just filled up my smoker full of pine needles. So you just push it down, get it in there. And today I remembered the matches, but you can use matches, a lighter, whatever. Because you just need the smoke from here. One thing I can tell you, you have to be careful handling the metal pieces and this part of your smoker tool once it gets going, because it gets awfully hot, very hot. So hopefully it's super windy today, so I'm hoping this will light. Yep, we have fire. So got it to light, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on it. Ooh, you can see the smoke coming out already, and it's getting hot already. Whew, okay. So got it going, and now you've got my smoke coming out. Like I said, it's a real windy day today, so it's a little hard to see. So I did my smoker tool prep in advance. Put my matches back in my pocket because I always end up losing them. So I'm gonna try to get a whole bunch of video of what we're doing today. I've got all my tools ready. I got my jacket. I got my gloves. Got my hive tool. You gotta have this. And I have a synthetic, very soft brush. Ooh, that's not really soft. Using this to brush the bees off. But you can get a genuine bee brush online. Costs a little more money. And in case I forget, got my smoker tool. Yes, I just smoked myself in the face. So here's my smoker tool, and got it ready to go. Probably started it up a little bit sooner than I should have, but typically I'm always the last one in my smoker tool trying to get it going. So got my bee suit, and I'm so glad today is windy and cool. The weather has changed, because the worst part about beekeeping is putting on this bee suit when it's hot, super hot in the summer. And I know you will see people on YouTube who don't even use a bee suit. Sometimes they'll just use the veil, which good for them. And then there's some people who use, let me step back a little bit. And then there's some people who use the overalls, the suit that you step in. I started this year with a jacket and a veil, and that's all I'm going to use. So I'm going to just get this zipped up. I always zip it up first. Make sure that this Velcro is closing, because you don't want any bees getting inside your bee veil, which I've actually had happen once before, and man, I can move real quick getting it off. And on days when I know I'm gonna have to wear my bee veil, I usually put my hair up in a bun, because it's like it helps to keep the veil actually off my face. If you've got a what do you call it, a baseball cap, that's even better, because that part of the baseball cap keeps it out there. Okay, so usually once I get my suit on, my hive tool, and I cannot even stress to you how important this is when you don't have it, to just open up the hives. It's super important that you have it. Your bee brush, of course, and your gloves. Now, something happened to my bee suit, so I did get to wash it, put it in the washing machine, and it came out fine. I think, did I let it air dry? I may have let it air dry. And then, you know, putting on your gloves. I like to put on my gloves. Just, I don't pull them all the way up. I just put them here at the wrist, at my wrist, yeah, and make sure. And my gloves are all dirty, but they're well worn. They're slowly but surely getting broken in. The thing I don't like about the gloves, it's really hard. No, it's impossible to operate your cell phone with to take pictures and stuff when you've got your gloves on. So good luck with that. You know, and it's a hassle taking your glove off and putting it back on. So just about ready to start harvesting honey. This will be the second harvest this year. Let me see, what else do I need? So I think I have everything I need. Waiting for a few folks to show up to help me with this, and then we'll get started. I'll try to get as many pictures as I can. Woo! Me and my bee suit. Me and my bee suit. Woo! Yeah, I'll try to get as many pictures as I can. Darn it, I wish I brought my baseball hat today, but I didn't. So, that's all there is to it. Oh, just let you know, I'm just wearing regular pants. I don't know if you can see it, but I have on socks and shoes and keeping it regular. I've noticed the bees don't really kind of fly around the ground. They're not really looking to go up your pant leg or something, but I guess it would be a bad idea to wear pants or have your socks cover them, or wear boots. So that's all there is to it. We're gonna get started in a little bit, and hopefully I have some more video for you to show you how we do a honey harvest here at Tuskegee Honey. Can you see me? Tuskegee Honey .com LLC. No, Tuskegee Honey LLC.com. All right, that's it. See, gotta take my glove off to stop the camera. So before we get started with today's harvest, just wanted to let you see that it's really windy, very windy. It's cool. Feels like it's in the 70s, so that's great. And the bees are all out doing their thing, you know, flower to flower, door to door, woo, collecting pollen, all that jazz. And little do they know, we'll be harvesting soon. And hey, I'm sorry, I get that they call it you're robbing bees. I don't feel like I'm robbing them, because they get a cute little house, right? I don't charge rent, you know. I help keep it clean and clear around. I do the yard work for them, so I don't really consider it robbing bees. I just think it's me helping the bees, and they're giving me something in return. Cool. Well, this is pretty much what you see when you first open one of the boxes. And just to show you the different frames inside the beehive, frames specifically that you don't want to harvest. This here, what you're seeing, this is capped baby bees, capped brood as they call it. So you do not want to pull this frame out and harvest it at all, because it's got baby bees on it. Why would you want to do that? And this frame here, oh, look at the pretty colors. This is pollen. The bees, they store pollen, you know, and it's really, really pretty. I just love the different colors that they get, but you don't want to use this either. And here is a more close-up picture of, and you see the little white things? Those are baby bees. Wow. And you definitely don't want to pull this frame to harvest it either. So sorry I had to hold the camera for this part, but this is what you're looking for: frames of fully capped honey. And those are the ones that we'll be harvesting today, the ones that are fully capped. You can see the honey extractor, it has these two clear lids, and I'm just going to set those aside for a minute. Do that. Then I'm going to I want to make sure I get a good view, good angle for you guys. So I'm going to scoot this a little bit closer to here, although that will be in my way. So I'm going to have to flip the camera around the other way. You can see down in there, there is the frame of honey. And I've only opened up one side of it, and then I'm going to spin it, and then I'll do it on the other side. And I'm not sure which is a preference, but we'll make it lens. And this is some of the honeycomb that kind of got through. And this is the strainer, which, yeah, I got to clean this out. So look, fresh honey. Wow. Nice. So this is about a half a bucket. So I would guess this is about 2.5 gallons of honey. So then I'm going to pour it into here in a little bit and be able to start filling up these sample jars. Okay, so from the honey harvest yesterday, we had, you know, when we filter the honey, when we lightly filter the honey, which means we're just letting the honey drain from the extractor tank, and then this is a fine mesh, and you end up with these, what they call wax cappings. So I'm just going to take them out of here so I can go wash the mesh strainer. Let me set this aside a minute. Ooh, that's heavy. And who knows, I'm just going to save these wax cappings for now, and I might make candles or lip balm or something else out of it. But for right now, we've got a humongous order, and we've got to get that all taken care of first. So just going to put all of these in there. And it's funny how a lot of my canning supplies have come in handy with beekeeping. Oh, and you don't want to rinse this. Well, you can rinse it in your sink, but you need to make sure you don't let these pieces of wax go down the drain in your sink. That would not be good. You'll be calling a plumber. So just gonna put all that in there. Sometimes I notice after a day or two, I let this set and there'll be a little bit of honey in the bottom, which is fine. It's still good. It's just, you're not really selling it with wax cappings. But I will be working towards having honeycomb, so someday to sell. Okay, so I'm going to take this to the sink and clean it up and make sure I have a strainer thing in the bottom of my sink so these cappings don't go down the drain. So that's it for that. That's how you maximize and save everything that you have harvested. So, and everything is super sticky, but look at that. That's so pretty. Okay, so there's that. So, okay, so yesterday, as you know, we did the honey extraction, and these frames are now empty, and I have to take them back to the bee yard and put them back into the beehives. So I wanted to show you, but I'm gonna close this up. We're gonna get this in the truck and drive it down to the bee yard. It's a little cold this morning, so I might wait a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna take it down there. Yes, as you can see, I had to cover everything with plastic to make sure I didn't get honey on all my stuff. Okay, it is 43 degrees outside, and you can see all the leaves are falling. And what I've got to do is take all these frames back to the hives that we extracted from yesterday and put them in there. So, it's cold out here. So I got to get this box in the truck bed and drive it down to the bee yard. So I took the empty frames that we had extracted honey from back to the bee yard to put them back into the beehives that they came out of. And unfortunately, I had a video mishap. This whole last week and a half, guys, I appreciate your support. It was a lot going on. So for me trying to harvest and fill this order and take care of the bees, it was a lot going on, and for some reason that whole section of the video like really messed up, but I promise I'll do better next time. So as you can tell by now, it's kind of a process in putting in working with honeybees and processing honey and keeping everything going and staying safe and being mindful of all the things that are going on around you. So I think the next part of this video, I'm going to show you what happened with the flow hive and some of the bottling and packaging of the honey so far. So I know this vlog has been a little bit longer than most, but I appreciate your watching. And for me, it's like fascinating, and I do appreciate that you all like are actually supporting me and being a big part of this too. So let's move on to the next section. So I think you've seen my flow hive in my other videos, and this was opening up the flow hive to just check on the bees and make sure everything's fine before we actually started harvesting from it. And when you open the little door, you know, that's on the back of the flow hive, you can see that the cells, they're not full, but when we lifted out the frames, you could see that the bees had pretty much filled it up. And so that's just looking a little bit closer to see, yeah, there's a lot of honey in there. So on to the show. I was able to get some video of the actual flow hive and harvesting. So here's my flow hive, and we were able to get the honey flow started, and it's doing real good. We've got a lot of honey in this bucket, and this is a small bucket. I think this is a 3-gallon bucket, and you can see a lot of honey was flowing out of there. So we're only harvesting from a few of these frames, and we'll see how much honey we end up getting. So this was after we harvested from the flow frames. There was a little bit left in the channel, as you can see there at the bottom, and the bees came and they started like getting real, doing their little happy dance that they could eat that, and that was fine. I love the flow hive, and I think I'm gonna make some more tubes so we can harvest all the frames at once. But it was a real good experience. Loving it. Okay, so with the flow hive, we were able to harvest today about 2 gallons of honey, which is pretty good. And I was able to make, so far, 140 little 1-ounce jars, more or less. Not quite 140, but it's a lot of them. So I'm going to finish capping these up, and so far, pretty good. Okay, almost done filling the 400 jars. Just a little more, and we will be done. So I got to take a break, and then I got to put the caps on all of these, and yay! So happy I got it done, but still got to do the labels and put them in the bags and put them in the boxes and get them delivered to my client. But I'm gonna get it done by hook or by crook. Ta-da! So in finishing up this order, each little sample jar in its organza bag. It's put into a plastic bag and then gets put into a box for delivery. Reason I'm using the plastic bags is because there are other people who are going to pack these into gift bags for people, and I didn't want any of them to, by accident, if a top came off, then it would be a hot mess, a honey mess for real. So gonna finish this and we are done with this beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, wonderful labor of love honey order. 400 jars of honey.